Yeah, that's right. I see the chat. I see y'all rocking. I see y'all coming. Hit that like button as you enter the building. You know what I'm saying? Hit that like button. Show your love. Show your support. You know what I'm saying? This that dope soul. This that new thing. Nobody don't know about it. Nobody don't.
Salute, Knick family. What's the vibes this morning? Uh-oh. I got to get better at this. Salute, Knick. I got to get better at that. But what's the vibes this morning? I put a poll in the chat. Let me know how you feel. This is, the morning recap show. I'm your host, Stephanie, aka Queen. Saturdays and Sundays, if I can, I like to have panel shows because I have a bit more time. So I'm here with Geoff, and we're about to talk about today's game. Shout out last night's game, I should say. Shout out to the chat. All right, let's get into it. Geoff, we beat Atlanta 126-120. It's a lot to talk about, good and, not so good if you want to talk about the defense. If you want to be a bit picky. But just how you feeling this morning and what's your thoughts on last night's win in Atlanta?
Relieved. That's my vibe. Relieved. Like, get that monkey off your back. Don't blow another game in the final 6 minutes. Like, closers close. We had our difficulties, but we had some of that last year too. I think the defense is going to take some time. It just always seems to. I don't know why. I don't understand it, but check back in about 20 games or so, and at that point, if we're still playing poorly on the defensive end, then I'll start to worry about it. But man, that offense was good. If you can play offense like that, it don't matter. It was so good. And to me, I don't think the Atlanta Hawks are a bad basketball team. Right. I think they're top 6 in the East, and to go on the road when they're hungry for a win. Remember, they blew a game in the opener too. So they were just as hungry for a win as we were. And, to come in there and play not a perfect game, but play a good game and be that dominant on the offensive end, and to see Jalen Brunson in his bag and just killing it from three. Was that a career high 8 3-pointers from him?
It was.
Oh man, just that was just a thing of beauty from him, and just RJ Barrett, like, continuing this journey to a different player. I have to give him his props. I have to eat crow, as they say, and I'm glad to do it. I hope this is the Barrett we see all season long. At the slow start, he said, not this time, because he's had 2 good games in a row. I think it took him till game 20 to get to 2 good games last year, and then he started to play really well. And then Lucas sliced off his finger, and then and then he went back into the struggles. But wow, he really, it's everything that you said. I got to give you props. I mean, that what you saw in game 1, I was skeptical about, and it's still a small sample size. But if he continues to do this, oh man, the Knicks are a dangerous team, because Randle's gonna have games where he gets more than 17 points. I promise you.
And more than 10 shots. Yeah. No doubt. But I think with Barrett, and we'll talk about him more a little later in the show, I saw his process changing in the first game. He wasn't efficient at all. Then I saw him hit a few shots off the dribble in that first game. And I said, that's a little different. If he's going to do that, we're going to be fine. But I would say, Geoff, you don't have to eat crow. You call it as you see it in the moment. And as the player changes, as their game changes, as the situation changed, the narrative should change. Right? Yep. But let me get into, for those that didn't know, we started our regular starters: Jalen Brunson, Quentin Grimes, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson, who was a beast last night. They started Trae Young, DeJounte Murray, DeAndre Hunter, Sadiq Bey, and Clint Capella. The top scorers for us was Brunson, 31 points, 5 assists, 8 3-pointers. Very efficient line, 52.4% from the field, 66.7% from three. Only 50% from the free throw line, but I think he only went twice or 3 times. We'll talk about that as well. Barrett, 26 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists, 60% from the field, 60% from three, 83.3% from the free throw line. Really efficient night for him. Randle, 17 points, 12 rebounds, 9 assists, 40% from the field. Only took 10 shots. He was 4 of 10. Had he hit one more shot, he would have been 50%. 42.9% from the field, 75%, from the three-point line, including a key one in the crunch time. 75% from the free throw line. And then we had a DiVincenzo sighting last night. 16 points in 20 minutes, 2 rebounds, 3 threes, and he shot well. Also, we shot basically 48% from the field, 45.5% from three, only 71.4% from the free throw line. Well, we were scorching hot, and I think it wasn't until, and we'll talk about this in the fourth quarter, I think we was 1 of 8 or 1 of 7 from three. We kind of cooled off from the 3-point line, but for most of the game, we were on point. I'm not going to go through every stat, but Hunter led them in scoring with 27 points. Murray had 18 points. Young also had 18 points. Very inefficient. He's an inefficient shooter anyway. And Bogdanovich had 16 points. They shot well also. They shot better than us, 48% from three, slightly better. 37.5% from the 3-point line. 48.3% from the field, 37.5% from the 3-point line, and 80% from the free throw line. Let's add Staffer.
Hey, salute Staffer. Good
How you
morning.
feeling this morning?
How y'all doing?
Awesome.
I got my tea, trying to get my throat together. Some little golden seal for those that's into herbs and things like that. Trying to take my golden seal.
Golden seal is good. Golden seal is good.
Your thoughts, Staffer, on the game last night, and then we'll break it down, and we'll go into it more in depth.
I thought we came out real good last night in the first quarter. Came out flaming hot. It ain't like the start that we started out in Boston real slow. So I thought that was a very, 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 very good thing. I know we're gonna break down everything, but I think that the game was overall good, but at the ending, it was a little sloppy in the last 2, 3, 4 minutes. I think we could clean that up. But overall, I think the game was a pretty entertaining game from start to end. And from in the Boston game till now, I still don't have no worries. Just a couple of things that we need to clean up.
You're muted, Queen.
Thank you, Geoff. No doubt about it. Let's go into just player by player. Hold on. Let me get my questions.
I like that slide. Look at her slide games. She's
Yeah,
like,
I'm trying to level up.
Look at this.
I'm trying to level up. Thoughts, Geoff talked about this a little bit, but just the thoughts on RJ Barrett looked good for the second game in a row for me. A lot of what I saw in the first game, but tonight he added the efficiency. What did you see from RJ Barrett? Are you encouraged by it, or are you still in wait and see mode with RJ Barrett?
Is that for me?
Staffer and then Geoff.
Oh wow. I think Queen, we might have to start taking back our words a little bit because boy RJ he is improving. Let me say that. 34 minutes, 24 points, 3 rounds, 6 assists. those 6 assists are very, very, very good. Meaning, say he's seeing the floor, he's not tunnel vision, he's playmaking. But the thing that stood out to me is in the fourth quarter when he was going against, I believe it was DeAndre, and he did a step back jumper, and he gave us another lead, and they called timeout. So if RJ could give us that jumper right there consistently, the sky's the limit for this young man. You know, he always give us this game where he will score 30 and the next game he'll score 9. So I'm encouraged by this game, but it has to be consistent. And that's the issue that I have with him. He's not consistent. So I like what I've seen with RJ. Sweet jumper, playmaking, 34 minutes. He played very well last night. It's just one game, but I need to see it consistently.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I will say though, for me, it's not about him having a good game because he's had good games before. He's had good stretches before. What's encouraging, and I don't think he's going to be an efficient shooter for the rest of the season, but he could still be good and not be inefficient. There's many NBA players who are not very efficient, but they're really, they're really good players. If he's, if he's has his head up, and he knows he can get to the rim at will, and he's reading the defense, am I gonna? And depending on what the defense does, he's reading it, whether he's gonna go all the way to the basket, whether he's gonna set somebody up for a shot, whether he's gonna just start the play over. It's the process with Barrett that is what I see, and also hitting shots off the dribble. So when I looked at his shot clock, he had some 3-pointers. He had some shots off the dribble. He had some shots when he went to the basket on all 3 levels. So I'm not taking back anything I've said about RJ Barrett because everything I said about RJ Barrett was about who RJ Barrett was up to that time. I don't think I've ever said he'll never be anything, but
right
up to that time. Now he's showing something different. I do feel encouraged by what, I'm seeing for him. As long as his process stays the same, his floor game stays the same, he's going to be good. Geoff, do you want to add anything to what you said earlier?
Yeah, just a couple things. So through 2 games, he's 5 3-point attempts a game. And I think that's a decent level for him. I don't think I want to see that expanding up to the Julius Randle territory, if you will. Julius likes to get his 8 to 10 in from out there, but I like the smaller sample size from 3. I like the shot diet. That's a lot of what we talked about with what we loved about Julius last year, but the shot diet is really good for him right now. His the way he's seeing the game, but there is one other thing that we need to add that we haven't talked about. His defense was better. His defense was better last night. He wasn't a lockdown defender, but he was engaged. He was in the play. He was doing a good job out there on both sides of the floor. And I think coaches know that when players are hitting shots, the defense tends to raise up a level. So I'm hopeful that it's not just that, but that he's really committed to that end of the floor, because if we get that floor defensively and the processing on offense, then we've got a really good player.
No doubt about it. Do you see anything different in his game other than his process? And we began to see that in the playoffs, right? Then we saw it a little bit in a lot in FIBA. We saw it in the preseason. He's processing the game different. Anything else different in his game through the first 2 games than last year?
A pull up mid range.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever saw RJ do that last year. That
No,
I can remember.
that's it right there. You hit the nail right on the head, Jeff. That pull up mid range, as I said, he gets that consistently going. This Knicks team is going to be a hard team to beat. RJ puts that in his arsenal consistently, Jeff. Yeah.
Well, then he
gonna have
becomes
a
a
lot of
problem
issues.
because then you don't know if you're the defender right now. You know he's going downhill. He's going downhill. You're going to double, triple team and swarm. But
Right.
if he can go downhill and stop on a dime and hit that little mid-range shot, how do you attack him then? And then you don't know what's he going to do, and so you can't really commit that defensive energy to, if he's just going to do that, it thwarts that defense on him, and it allows him to be even better and more efficient on his drives to the basket as well. So it opens up more of his game if he can do that on a consistent basis. And I'm here for it. I would love to see if this is new RJ. I'm here for it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no doubt about it. And the defense, as you mentioned, I noticed that too. Not locked down, but not a cone. Like really solid, really good on the defensive end. And if you're getting that from RJ Barrett, where he's defending his position, you can kind of deal with the inefficiency if that becomes the case, if he's defending his position. Shout out to Thomas Banks, who made a good point that if his 3-point push shooting goes down, he doesn't take as many attempts, he might be more efficient. There was many 0 for 9, 1 for 9, 1 for 7 nights,
Yep.
and
Yep.
and you're right, Thomas Banks. His poor free throw shooting brought his overall field goal percentage down. So I'm encouraged. We got another one tonight in New Orleans. We got a tough stretch. This is a tough stretch that we're in. We're gonna need everybody, all hands on deck. Let's talk about Jalen Brunson. More threes these first 2 games. Didn't get to the line as much. Is that the strategy this season? Do you think, Tom Thibodeau said, look, we got a guy shooting 40% from 3, taking 4 or 5 threes a game. He's going to have to get that number up. Or do you think it's he's just taking what the defense is giving him? They're cutting off the the driving lanes. And he's like, okay, it makes no difference to me because I can hit the 3 as well. Just your thoughts on what you saw from Brunson last night.
I think you just hit the nail on the head. Brunson's such a smart player. And, he's going to see how they're guarding you. And if you're going to let him shoot from out there, he's like, I'm a 40% 3-point shooter last year. I got no problem hanging out here and busting it in your eye. But, and then if you come out and guard me, then I'm going to bust you with the dribble. So, choose your poison. I'll take these 8 threes to the bank. Thank you. But I don't think it's going to be like that every game. But I just think he's taking what the defense gives you. And really, when he's on from the perimeter, you just saw an offense that completely clicked last night. I mean, it was even down the stretch. Normally what I look for is how many defense stops you can string together in a row, to build a lead. And we didn't really do that last night. It was like we had a stretch in the fourth where we missed threes and they came back and brought it to even, and it'd be like, well, they'd make a shot, we'd make a shot. They'd make a shot, we'd make a shot. And then we made another shot. And then we made another shot. And then we, down the stretch, there really was some high level shot making, not just from Brunson, not just from Barrett, but from pretty much everybody down in that, down to the last minute there. So, but yeah, I think he's going to take what the defense gives him, and got to get that free throw percentage up though. That's and get more attempts. But again, if you're shooting a lot of threes, you're not going to get a lot of free throws. That's just
that's the trade-off, right?
yeah, that's the trade-off. So but again, if that's and I'm sure that's a calculus too. I mean, the Hawks might have said, look, if he's going to make a bunch of threes on it, we'll live with it, but don't let him get to the line where he, if we can keep him outside, and Murray's a tough cover for him. I mean, DeJounte is a really solid perimeter defender.
Right.
And so I think that may have something to do with it also is the matchup, and he was, and I think he's a student of the game. And I think he saw the matchup against Drew, who's kind of similar in size to Murray. And he's like, well, I tried to force things inside and that didn't really work. So I'm going to go at it. I'm going to attack it a little bit differently. And so he said, okay, I'm going to take what the defense gives me and work at it that way. And yeah, I was not worried about Jalen Brunson. The guy is a star in my opinion. I'm so glad he's our point guard.
Yeah, I agree with that. Stafford, your thoughts on Brunson? Were you concerned that he's taking a lot of threes? Do you prefer that he gets in the lane and mixes up and put a lot of pressure on the defense? Your thoughts?
Let me say this in the great words of Terrell Owens. That's our quarterback. That's our quarterback. Yo, Jalen Brunson, man. What can I say about the guy, man? He just gave what the defense gave him. Mix it up inside out, drop step, layup, teardrop, threes from the outside, contested threes. I mean, the young man could do it all. He put up a very good game last night. I think a couple times where you think we were about to give up the lead, but Jalen Brunson came right back, splash, right in your eye, 3. Driving down the lane, playmaking, 5 assists. So he didn't have tunnel vision. They say JB is a very selfish guy. He doesn't pass the ball. Well, there you go, 5 assists. He was spreading the ball last night, not only for him, but for his other teammates also too, right? So Jalen Brunson, man, I have no doubt that he was going to bounce back. Last night, he carries himself to a very high standard. The only thing I would like to see him do is take care of the ball in the last couple minutes. You're a quarterback. You're supposed to be securing the ball. Take care of the ball, because we almost lost that game last night. And as Geoff said, the whole team, not only him, the whole team needs to work on these free throws, because I think that's a little Achilles heel of us. We need to start hitting our free throws and start locking up some of these games with our free throws at the end of the game. So overall, Jalen Brunson, that's our quarterback.
Yeah, and the Knicks offense ran in such a way last night that he was able to get shots off the catch. Like the ball moved around, it came back to him, he was open. So he didn't have to try to create his shot each and every time down the court. So that was good to see. I also liked, it didn't happen a lot. I like when Quickley and Brunson play together. So they overlap, I don't know, 4 minutes maybe in the first half, in each half. And I can't say it was dynamic, but the potential for it is dynamic in those minutes that they share. And I'm not sure what you can do to the rotation so that they share more time on the court together. But like I've said before, just having 2 guys who can play off of each other, can play on and off the ball, just makes the backcourt a bit more dynamic.
Let me
We'll
say
see what
one
happens.
thing.
Mhm.
Corey, stop it. Stop what? I don't know what you're referring about, but your boy RJ was just one game. So calm down, bro. You got to be consistent. Calm down. Know you in the chat, raising your pom poms, jumping up and down, but relax. It's just one game, bro. One game. Continue, Queen.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I'm encouraged. I think but it is well for me. It's been two, but as far as when you add in the efficiency, it's been one game. I'm encouraged, but for me, and I say this a lot, I need a large sample size. To me, a season. To me, a season. That's what I need to see, and the playoffs. Then you really get a good sense of a player. But I am encouraged by what I see.
Of course,
I
of
saw
course.
from RJ Barrett. But put the pom poms away. You know, we got 80 more games, maybe even 81, right? I think we get an extra game because of that in-season tournament. All right. Let's move on to Julius Randle, 34 minutes, 17 points, 12 rebounds, 9 assists, 3 threes. Shot 40% from the field, 42.9% from the three-point line, 75% from the free throw line. Only took 10 shots last night. You know, just played within the flow of the game, allowed the game to come to him. The gravity on this guy, if you get a chance to watch the game again, the gravity when he gets the ball in the post or in the mid post, double team. One time I saw a triple team, and we were able to get some really good looks at the three-point line because of the gravity that he has. He draws so much attention, and we knocked down shots tonight. So much so there was a possession in the fourth quarter where they didn't double team, and he went to the basket and scored. I'm encouraged by what I saw from Randle, but I got to be honest, and me and Geoff was talking about this earlier. In my opinion, okay, you have games like this, you only take 10 shots. I just feel in order for us to advance deep into the playoffs, Julius Randle has to take more than 10 shots. I'm not saying every game, and last night was totally fine. He played within the flow of the game. He didn't force it, which was great. But I'm not getting it twisted. I'm not getting it twisted in terms of what we need Julius Randle to do so that we can get where we need to go. Those two guys have to come through for us. Then you add Barrett, and then we only need 2 of our guards to come through every night. Any 2, and we're going to be fine. Thoughts on Julius Randle last night? Shout out to Lady and the Chef, 2 Knicks chicks.
Good morning, Lady and the Chef. Good morning.
Good morning.
Pablo M, you hit it right on the head. Julius Randle affected the game in other ways. And we had over 30 assists.
Mm-hmm.
Julius had 9. RJ Barrett had 6. JB had 5. So Julius was his distribution bag last night. He realized in the first quarter, that he didn't have it. Right. Because he had a point in the game, Queen, where I say he got the ball and he was trying to go 1-on-1. And nothing wasn't really going on for him. And he was trying to force it up a little bit. Right. And I guess he realized, it's not going good for me tonight. Let me go ahead and distribute the ball. Because he realized every time he touched the ball, he was getting double teamed. So he was making the right decisions, quick plays, passing out the ball real quick from the double team, and finding his guys. He found RJ a couple times in the corner. He found JB a couple times on the perimeter. He found DiVincenzo a couple times on the perimeter. I think also 1 or 2 he had Grimes, if I'm not mistaken. But Julius really affected the game last night. A lot of people said that how they love him in this third option. But let me tell you something. In that fourth quarter, when we needed a person to throw the ball down into the post and to draw the double team for us to kick out, a lot of people cuss him about this ISO. This is what ISO is for. When you have a person like Julius Randle who's gonna command double teams in the post in the fourth quarter when you need to go get a bucket, and he could draw that defense and kick it out for one of our shooters. Splash, 30 assists. How many threes last night? So you got to give this young man credit, Julius Randle. He came into the game with a different mindset. He came into the season with a different mindset. And I'm just proud of him, how he played last night. He didn't force up anything. He let the game come to him. And I have a big surprise with Julius Randle later down in the show. So stay tuned for that.
Okay. All right. Okay. Geoff?
You know, I want to talk about Julius Randle's rebounding.
Yeah.
He, more than any other player on this roster, when we need a tough board in the fourth quarter, Randle is your guy to get that rebound, man. It's not just that he has 12 rebounds. It was like every critical rebound down the stretch in the fourth quarter. I mean, the man just gets the ball. I mean, it's really fun to see. I think that's an underrated aspect of his game. I mean, we just kind of take it for granted that we've got this guy who just rebounds like a maniac. But his fourth quarter rebounding is phenomenal. And that was one of the things we missed in the Boston game, by the way. I think he had 11 boards, but I don't think he had any in the second half, and he certainly didn't have any down the stretch. And so, you know, that changed. I like the playmaking. If he's 16 assists to 3 turnovers for over the course of a season, you take that every time. I kind of agree with you, Queen, that as a long-term answer, I don't think this is the Julius that I think we're going to need to see him have some games where he's 25, 30, but those games are coming. Those games are coming. I like that he didn't force it. I like that he showed maturity out there.
Right.
And that's what we're asking for from him. You know, that when we talk preseason, that you asked the question, what does elite from Julius Randle look like? This is what it looks like. Maturity in these types of games. Not you don't have it going. You went 5 of 22 the night before. So don't repeat that. Let's go with what's working. What's working is I'm dishing, we're switching, we got it going on. We've got this thing. And then all of a sudden in the fourth quarter, in the final minute, when things are a little bit shaky,
right.
Last night it was Randle who did the job. He got that pass from Barrett and he splashed the 3. He got the rebounds. He made a free throw. I mean, he missed one too, but he got the rebound. You know, so he made all the plays down the stretch last night, and that's not really. I don't really see him as that on this team. I don't think that that's his primary role, but it's good to see that he was able to do that and help us to secure the win.
And by do that, you mean close
Yes.
games, right?
Yes. Because a lot of times last year it was, you know, Julius Randle would kind of carry the first 3 quarters, and then Brunson would kind of come in the fourth and just, you know, dominate the action. I mean, and that's one thing we haven't really seen is a Randle first quarter yet, where he, you know, last year it seemed like every first quarter he was 12, 14 points. You know what I mean? Like, or first half, he really was putting up big numbers. We haven't seen that. It's coming. It's coming. Don't worry. I'm not fussing about it. I'm just saying that's what we're used to, and so for him to have a little bit of a change up was kind of good. I think you're muted again, Queen.
Thank you, Geoff. I think in order to hit that 3, great pass by RJ Barrett, by the way, and again, just another example of RJ Barrett reading the game, being in the game, making the extra pass, not forcing it himself. In order to hit that 3, in my opinion, you had to be really locked into that game. If you're upset that you're only taking 10 shots, if you're frustrated, I don't know if you make that shot. You know, I don't know if you go to the free throw line, miss it, and go get the, rebound and get fouled again. So it's just good to see that he's mentally appears to be in a, in a really good place. So yeah. Anything else on Jules before we move on?
Yeah, man, it's just a testament to see that the game has actually slowed down in his
Right.
mind. You know, I think by him saying that how he couldn't really ramp up his workout in the summertime and he had to slow down. I think whatever Bruce Lee did over in the off season, it really, no, I'm serious. It really have him in a zone where he's calm, because shout out to Sim last night and the whole crew, because they say they want this rattle Randle, this aggressive Randle. No, I don't think he has to be that type of person anymore. I think he's more relaxed. He know the team is deep. We going into a team where he's comfortable with the guys. They've been playing with each other for at least 2-3 years now. Well, JB is a second year. The other guy's been there a long time. DiVincenzo, he just came in, but he fits in seamlessly. So he's not really stressing and have to take on the burden of carrying this team no more. He's relaxed. The game is coming to him. It's slowed down so he could process and what's going on. So I'm just proud of Julius. You know, a lot of people doubt him about his antics. They still bringing up the slapping of the laptops. That's
Right.
2 years ago. Forget that. It's in the past. We are
Right.
here now. This is the 2023-24 Julius Randle. You know what I mean? It's only 2 games. Let's see what's going to happen for the rest of the season. But good game from Julius last night.
No doubt. Shout out to G Robinson. 10 to 15 shots for Randall is ideal. That's what he is. I totally disagree. I totally disagree. Let's pipe down. Let's not get too happy about one game from RJ Barrett. Jalen Brunson, 8 career, 8 threes. Jalen Brunson and Randall have to do the heavy lifting on this team. Now, you bring in an Embiid, you bring in, I don't know, Brandon Ingram, you bring in somebody else, okay. Then you can say we got, 2 other people who can carry the load. Maybe Randall can take a step back. Randall was one of our most efficient players last year. So to say 10 to 15 shots to me is for players who aren't efficient. Bring it down. Stop hoisting up shots, because you're not very efficient. No, I don't think that's ideal. It worked out for us last night, but trust me, Randall has shown when he's at the top of the scouting report every night, he can still come through for us. These other guys, they played well, and I'm happy for them. You put them at the top of the scouting report, we don't know. And by that I mean they get the defensive attention from the opponent team. We don't know what they're going to do, right? Some guys are great because they're playing off other guys that's drawing attention. So I don't want to get it twisted. He only had 10 shots last night. We won the game. That's great. Personally, and I could be wrong, I don't see that as a formula for success going forward. And again, you don't have it, you don't have it. That's not what I'm saying. Don't force it. Just because you're the number 1 or number 2 option, I got to get up 20 shots that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that over the course of a season, we need Randall to be Randall. That's all I'm saying. If we're trying to go deep into the playoff, you got to, your main guys have to be your main guys, and you have to get the support. That's why I'm encouraged by what I see from RJ Barrett. Because if we get this type of play from RJ Barrett, like you said earlier, Staffer, our ceiling is higher. Our ceiling is higher. We'll talk about the guards as well, but think about it. Quickley played well the first game, not so much the second game, at least shooting wise. But then DiVincenzo played well. You understand what I'm saying? So we got enough guards. You get Randle, Brunson, Barrett, two of those guards each game. I don't care which two it is. We good. So that's just my thought on Julius Randle. We shall see. Let's talk about Mitch. Dominated defensively, particularly in the first half. I just thought he was just everywhere. If he wasn't blocking a shot, he was altering shots. He was just a monster last night. Also had 4 steals. 1 steal from your center is good. 4 steals, 4 blocks, 13 rebounds, 7 of them defensively. So to all the people who say, oh, the reason why he's not rebounding defensively is because he's out on the perimeter cup. I never bought that. He's stronger, and he's making a concerted effort on those. Now, I feel great if it's Randle out there, or now I feel great if it's Mitch out there. Like, we're going to secure the rebounds if they miss. So I was super impressed with Mitchell Robinson last night. Geoff, we'll start with you because I know, well, we got 2 presidents. I don't know who's the president, who's the vice
He's the
president.
I'm the vice president. He's been here longer.
We got 2 of them here tonight. Your thoughts?
Go ahead, Geoff. Take it first.
We got the whole cabinet here tonight. Oh man, I'm so excited about Robinson, the way that he played. To me, this is
Mitch?
the next next evolution of Robinson. Mitchell Robinson, just if he the steals, the blocks, the terror on defense that is his potential, and but the defensive boards, as you said, that's huge when he's getting 7 on the defensive glass and 6 on the offensive glass. And we know he's the best offensive rebounder, not named Steven Adams, in the league. So we know he's got that going for him. But if he's doing all those other things, 7 points out of him, I don't care. He's more than worth his weight in gold, more than worth his weight of his contract. And my favorite number from last night, 3 out of 4 at the line.
Yes.
3 out of 4. That's huge. That's huge. So yeah, Mitch gave us everything that we wanted him to do last night. And I don't know if maybe it's just because this was a favorable matchup for him. And, it's just, I do have to say this, I'm big to say, well, 1 game sample size on RJ Barrett. Well, 1 game sample size on Mitchell Robinson. We have to be fair. And look, full disclosure, y'all know how I feel about him, but he's, we talk about, we want to see Barrett consistently do that. We need to see this consistently out of Mitch too. Like that raises our ceiling almost, not quite as much as RJ's, but that raises our ceiling also. And if you get that in tandem, you're starting to get tough. So I really like what I saw from him tonight, and he just affected the game. I mean, if you're gonna have 8 stocks out of the 5 spot, and finally some blocked shots, he had 0 against Boston. So for him to get 4 and be the menace in the paint, I love it.
Yeah. Stafford, you want me to move you to the top where I'm at? Because I know when the comments come up, it takes your chin out. I don't know.
No, I'm good. But I need Jerrell and Eru to step to the podium right now. Y'all guys been killing my Mitch from since day 1. And I'm going with Geoff also too. It's just 1 game, but you see the effect that Mitchell Robinson have on this team. He is our anchor quarterback for our defense. When you see thing goes wrong, as Geoff said, 6 offensive rebounds. I'm gonna say the best rebounder in the NBA right now, right? We always say, oh, we need to stretch this and we need to stretch that. Mitchell Robinson dominated last night. Okay. They couldn't even box out this guy. They had us to have like 2 people trying to protect him from trying to refuse him from getting a rebound last night. He also had 4 block shots. I believe he had 4 steals, I believe. Yeah, oh yeah, 4 steals is right in front of me. 4 steals. So you see he's very active in the passing lanes. I mean, Mitch, man, I mean, they tried to kill us last night with this pick and roll between him and Capella last night. And you know that's Trae Young, that's their bread and butter right there. But Mitch wasn't having it last night. He broke up most of those plays last night. He deflected Capella from making certain plays last night. Listen, last night after everything, the whole pregame show, I was listening to Atlanta podcast, and boy, when I tell you, they ready to ship Clint Capella out the door right now because they don't want him on this team no more. It's only 2 games, and they ready to ship him out. So give thanks for Mitch, what we got in Mitch right now. He mightn't be the darling player that you want, a la what's his name out there in Indiana, but Mitch's value to this team right now. Okay, and it's about time that we put some respect on his name. But the key word, people, is consistency. It's only the second game. He had a bad game the first game, but we need this from all the guys on the team. Not only just one, not only just 2, but everybody to play at a consistent level every night. You know what I mean? But shout out to Mitch, man. He was one of the unsung heroes last night. People might want to hear that, but he really was.
You muted, Queen.
Mitch definitely was, but I got to say to you, Stafford, what you said to Corey Lee, pipe down. It's just one game. I know you said it yourself. I know you said it yourself.
One other thing on Mitch was in the final minute, they had that pick and roll with Trey. I mean, they tried to get that ball into Capella. You know, Young kind of lofted it up over Robinson's head, and Robinson didn't get a block. I think he got credited with a steal on that actually, but right. He altered it and was able to get the ball. And I think it was a 2-point game at that time. I think I had cut it to 2. So that was a really big play, you know, and it's something maybe that goes under the radar. But I think that is a microcosm of the effect that Robinson had last night. Now let's build. Let's keep that going. Let's not roller coaster. Let's steady incline upward. That's what we need.
And shout out to Thibodeau. You know, in the first game, if I'm not mistaken, somebody can check me on this. Hartenstein, if he didn't get more minutes than Mitch, he seemed to get more minutes than Mitch. And then the next game, Hartenstein gets only 10 minutes. You know, so I like our center core, you know, both of them. Even Sims, who's situational, he's strong too. If he ever had to be pressed into duty, I believe. But shout out to Thibodeau. Reading the game, reading the matchups. Who's going to be better here? Is it going to be Hartenstein or is it going to be Mitch? And kudos to both of those guys delivering when they're called upon. Hart had 10 minutes. I was surprised because he seemed to be everywhere last night. You know, the missed free throw dunk, you know, the block shots, you know, he was very, very active when he was in the game. So I really like, and I said this in the preseason, I really like what we have at that center position combined. Anything else on the centers, Mitchell Robinson or Hartenstein?
Let me just say I see Worldwide L brought it up in the chat. The most embarrassing moment of the game last night. Jalen Johnson caught 2 bodies, dunking on my 2 guys. The 2 Harts, actually. He dunked on 2 Harts. It was nasty, but shout out to Hartenstein, a real hustler. I just love his tenacity. His fight. I think it had one series in the game where I think he did miss the free throw, and then he went back and went for a tomahawk dunk. That was pretty sweet. Then I think he had another. I think it was a steal. Yes, that's what it was. A steal. He had a breakaway, and he ran down the court, and he dunked it.
Yeah,
yeah, and he dunked it. So Hartenstein, he showed a lot of grit after that embarrassing dunk that he tried to prevent from Jalen Johnson. But shout out to Hart, man, and shout out to Mitch. You know, two valuable centers for our team right now is playing very well. So shout out to those guys.
and
We
they
just call them
complement.
the all. Oh, sorry, Queen. Go ahead.
I was just going to say they complement each other
They do.
so well, and it gives us so much flexibility. Go ahead, Geoff.
We're going to call them the All-State group because we're in good hands.
I like that. I like that. And you know, another thing I like, they root for each other regardless of who gets the most minutes.
They really do. They really
That
do.
night. When iHeart came out the game, Mitch was super happy for him. Even last season, think about it. There was some games where Mitch was frustrated. He wasn't frustrated with Hartenstein getting more minutes. He was just frustrated that at a point in the season he wasn't getting the minutes he wanted to get. But those two guys always seem tight. You see him on Twitter getting a cake for Hartenstein, for his birthday and what have you. I just really like the camaraderie that they have off the court as well. And it just seems like it's just about the team. If it's your turn, it's your turn. If it's my turn, it's my turn. It's just about the team. So I'm really psyched about our center position.
Can I say one other thing about this before we move on to the next? So this is what, year 6 for Mitchell Robinson as a New York Knick, and
the oldest Knick,
and year 5 for RJ Barrett.
Mm-hmm.
And so here you have two homegrown players who are making a big impact. And these are guys that we've drafted and have been here for a long time. When was the last time we could say we had two guys that we drafted on our own that were together for 5+ years?
Yeah.
I can't, I don't know how long. I bet it's been 50 years since we've had two guys that we drafted that have been on the team together and grown together. And are they all-stars? No, but are they pivotal pieces that help us win basketball games? Yep. They sure are. So that to me is encouraging about our process. It's encouraging about our development, and those are things that we're often criticized for. But I really like that Robinson and Barrett, the homegrown kids, are stepping up and showing that they belong on the court.
Yeah. There's a lot of Knick fans who feel that way. Me personally, I don't care whether we drafted them or signed them in free agency, but I tell you, they're ours. But it does speak to our process, though. It does, because if you're gonna win, you got to hit on some of your draft picks. And Mitchell Robinson was a second round.
Yes, he was.
He was a second round draft pick. So pretty raw. So, maybe that's why, maybe there's more to come from Mitchell Robinson, right? Because he was so raw and he needed to learn so much. Shout out to J Tap, one of my Patreons. I dropped a audio podcast. J Tap is in the Patreon app. So what I want to try to do for the Patreons is do a recap of the game, audio podcast recap of the game after most games. I can't say I'm gonna do it after every game, but after most games, I dropped that last night. So if I'm not sure if they send you an email, JTap, or how they do it, but I dropped that last night, and the plan is to drop another one. Shout out to my Patreons, and if you want to be a Patreon, the link is at the top of the chat. Is one way to support the channel, and then you get bonus podcasts. My newsletter now is just going to Patreon, and there'll be some other programming. There'll be some other programming as well. Oh, okay. I wanted to talk about Quickley, but we'll just go with Donte DiVincenzo. 20 minutes, 16 points in those 20 minutes, 2 rebounds, 3 threes. Shot really well from the field last night. I like the fact that if you noticed in that second unit, for the most part, he was the primary playmaker. Like, he was the one handling the ball, and Quickley was playing off the ball in that second unit. And that was something we talked about, might have been Thursday, and which allows Quickley the freedom to not have to worry about having playmaking responsibilities and setting up the team. He could just do what he does. So just your thoughts on Donte DiVincenzo last night.
A lot of people were worried about Donte. Why did we pick him up? He ain't showing out. People, it was just one game. This is our second game. So he came out last night. He stepped up, 16 points in 20 minutes, 3 threes. He had a step back right in front of the Knicks bench, right in Jalen Johnson's eye hole. Bing! That was pretty sweet. He was playmaking last night. This is why we got him, because he could shoot the 3 ball, and you see how very well that he was shooting the ball last night. I mean, I don't really have nothing much to say about Donte. It's just that he had to get more familiar with the team, more settled in, I guess more relaxed. And last night he looked like he was more relaxed. He knew what was his role coming into the game last night. He was very excellent off the bench. Quickley had a off night, I should say. So, Donte, basically took some of the pressure off of him. So I like it last night. I like Donte in the second unit last night. He stepped up his game, and we want to see this more moving forward. And I'm gonna keep banging it all the time. Consistency. So we have this out of Donte every night consistently. The next team is going to be a very hard team to beat. So people, don't worry. We got Donte. He's a very good player. He's going to do things for us in the season that you'll be very happy that we got him. 16 points, 20 minutes. I like that from Donte. Good bounce back game.
You're muted, Queen.
Thanks, Geoff. I thought he played more than 20 minutes. So similar to Hart, he was one who was in there and just really made the most of their minutes. Their impact seemed better than the minutes they played. Geoff, any thoughts on Donte?
At least for last night, he was like Vinnie Johnson from the Pistons teams. I'm not saying all the time, but last night he was our little mini microwave. You come in off the bench, you play 20 minutes, you drop 16 points. That's excellent. I don't know that we're going to get that from him every time, but what I'll say about DiVincenzo is I actually think he's going to he shot the ball well last night, which was the difference between the first 2 games. He didn't hit anything in game 1. So, but I think as it goes along and as he gets comfortable, he has the most adjustment to make out of everybody on this team. And there are other guys who have to, like Josh Hart is in an adjustment mode because he's in a different role also. So there's there's continuity from the team, but I think, as you rightly pointed out, people are in different roles, and it's going to take some time to get them used to those different roles. And Dante's got to familiarize himself with the entire team. I mean, he's buddies with Brunson and Hart, but they haven't played together on a professional level before. So, he's got to, almost relearn being with them and those sorts of things. So I actually think as it goes along, we're going to see more from Dante, not just, he'll have some games like this because he's a good shooter. I don't think he's going to go 60-60 all the time, but he's going to have games where he does this. But then I think from a playmaking aspect, I think that's something that's going to expand as the season goes along. And I actually think we're going to be really happy with the Quickley DiVincenzo combo in that second unit. I really feel like the second unit's a little bit disjointed still. I don't think they've really found their groove yet. And again, I think that's going to, for the reasons I mentioned, that's going to take a little bit of time. But when they do, it's quite clear that we have 11 guys that are NBA rotation players, and we're only 12 actually, and we only play 9 of them. But those 9 guys are really pretty good. I mean, when you have Deuce and Fournier and Hart and Sims, Deuce, Fournier, and Sims, who can't even see the court.
Right.
That means you have some quality depth to you, and I don't think that we've seen nearly I think there's a lot more potential for that bench unit to be better than we've seen so far.
I believe so too.
Yeah, I agree with that. Did you notice that it seemed like a concerted effort, like that was an adjustment that was made between game 1 and game 2 for DiVincenzo to handle the ball? Because there was times when Quickley would just pass it to him and just, run up the court. So it seems like it wasn't happenstance, so to speak. Like that was a concerted effort.
I think maybe they said, well, here's a guy who struggled. Let's try and get him in the flow a little bit. Let's let him handle the ball and kind of get greased up a little bit, get that helps him get into action instead. I think one of the hardest things to do for a player is just come in the game and make shots. Like, without, just coming straight off the bench, you haven't done anything, and then you're supposed to come in the game and you're supposed to be dead-eye Dick from 3, and that happens with some players, but I think that's a difficult thing to do. So I do think it was intentional to kind of get him in the flow, maybe get him, thinking about doing other things and not so much worrying about making shots, and then having that just kind of blend in naturally with the rest of his game.
Yeah, that's a good point. And, not necessarily just how it's going to be, but he struggled. Let's put the ball in his hands, let him get lathered up a little bit. Yeah, that's a good point. And then we'll see how it goes for the rest of the season. Anything else about Dante?
Now just keep it up. We need that consistency and that outside 3-point shooting, and I think we should be good. As somebody said, once that second unit gets more familiar with each other, it will be one of our strengths. So moving forward, the bench is gonna be real good.
Yeah. I see some new people in the chat. If this is your first time, welcome. If not, welcome back. I appreciate you guys.
Smash that like button. 117 watching, 52 likes.
Definitely.
Come on, you're getting this nice early morning content from the Queen, Dope Soul Sports Talk. You can't get nothing better, man. Shout out to DJ Shuttle. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, DJ Shuttle.
Yeah.
I was watching the Knicks. I had DJ Shuttle because Fridays 8 to 10. He's DJing on 108 Soul. So I had that on the low, jamming real smooth R&B last night while I was watching the game. Yeah. Let's hit the like button. It supports the channel. It you know how when you go to YouTube, they recommend different, videos. If you start liking a video, they'll recommend it to a broader and broader audience, and it helps the channel grow. So hit that like button. We got 112 now and 55 likes. Let's talk about Emmanuel Quickley. 24 minutes, 11 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, only 28.6% from the field, 11% from the three-point line. Went to the line, I believe it was twice. Hit both of them. Your thoughts on Emmanuel Quickley?
Quickley
Well,
was he. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go
go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead, Stefan.
Quickly. I mean, he had a little off game last night, but to me, what really stood out was his defense. You know, he didn't have the splash game that he had in game one against Boston, but he played very good defense on Trae Young last night. You know, he really got up in Trae Young's skin. 6 assists. So you see that he was looking for his guys last night. Um, also 6 rebounds. You know, he's a very good rebounder also too. So we need all the rebounds that we could get. And you know, Quickly is just playing his role. He get, you know, he played it within the game. He played what the defense showed him, even though he had 11 points, but he was still effective on the defensive end when Grimes came out, you know, guarding Trae Young, because I think Trae Young had like 2 for 14 or 4 for 14 from shooting or something like that. So shout out to Emmanuel Quickly, you know, for on the defensive end, you know, putting in work. As I said, it's not always going to be pretty all the time on the offensive end for him every night, but he played within the game last night. I wasn't too pleased with some of the quick shots that he took last night. I think he came down last night and just shot a hurry up three, and then he stole the ball last night, and then got it stolen back from him last night. So he got some things that he got to clean up, but I'm not really mad at him. It's just 2 games, but he will improve as the season goes along. But Quickly was all right for me last night. Just those things he needs to clean up a little bit.
Right. What does Tibbs say? You don't have to shoot well to play well.
True.
You know, and he had 4 turnovers too. He had 4 turnovers, so it wasn't his best night, but the depth that we have,
Yeah.
you know, DiVincenzo had a really good night. You know, so it bees like that sometimes. Anything else on Quick?
Well, I shout out to Ron, still Knick fans, and the ancillary stats. That's what
Right,
he
right,
got
right.
last night, right? So I thought it was a tale of two halves for Quickly. I thought in the first half he was solid, and in the second half he was not. Um, I don't know what necessarily to attribute that to, but I think Staffa made a good point. Is defensively he's just he always contributes on that end of the floor, and so even when he's not shooting well, and you know it's a law of averages kind of a thing. You'd like it to be, you know, it'd be nice if being a 40% shooter you went 4 out of 10 every game, but that means that some games you're gonna like he couldn't even touch the ball. He was so hot on the Boston game, and then you know he's so cold. He you know it's completely the other side of the faucet on that one. So,
Right.
but overall, again, you're talking about. So he was 5 of 7 in the first game and 1 of 11 or whatever he was in the second. So or 1 of 9, whatever it was. So overall, he's like 6 of 16, which is about what he shoots. So I mean, I think it's just you know regressing to the mean or whatever you want to call it, but you know we're going to get better offensive performances out of Quickly than we saw last night. But I love the 6 assists, you know, for a guy who really, if he wants to carve out a niche, not necessarily on this team, but if he can show that he can consistently be a point guard, that's going to up his value around the league, and this guy who's hunting for his next contract, whether it be with us or with somebody else. So those are the things that people need to see when he's not on his game with his shot. What else is he bringing you? Well, the answer is he's bringing you a lot. You muted, Queen.
Absolutely. And let's not underestimate, like you talked about, the defense. Trae Young, I'm not sure how many times he went to the line, but it didn't look like he had the parade to the line that he usually has. He gets to the line a lot every game. And I thought the Knicks perimeter defenders were very disciplined when guarding him. Let him shoot the three. He's not a really efficient shooter, but he starts getting in the lane, passing out to people. He starts getting to the free throw line. You got problems. So I thought the guards were very disciplined with Trae Young. Quentin Grimes, 25 minutes, 6.2 threes, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 100%. That must be free throws. I'm not sure what that is. Not his best shooting night, but he only took 5 shots. I think for Grimes, it was about his defense on Trae Young.
It was.
And they must have talked to him too. Do not foul this guy and put him on the line. Because you notice he was using his chest. Just using his chest. Sometimes he even had his hands down, just so he couldn't get baited into a foul. I thought his defense was superb. And I think this is what you're going to get from Grimes. That's his number one role on the Knicks. Guard the best player, if it's not a center, on the other team. I was going to say perimeter players, but he guarded Tatum, and Tatum was playing power forward. So guard the best player on the other team if they're wing-like. And when you get your opportunities from 3, knock him down if you can. Some games he's going to get more shots. Some games he's not, going to get a lot of shots. Play defense. I thought he was superb last night, except for, obviously the turnover that was compounded by a foul. And Brunson just had 1 turnover for the game, and that was the Barrett pass. So
Right.
that the other turnover they credited to Grimes. But overall, I thought he was superb defensively. Thoughts on Quentin Grimes?
As I pointed out, with Quickley, Grimes' defense was good on Trae Young last night. I think Trae Young went like 3 for 14 or 4 for 14 like that. He locked him down. He didn't fall for the antics that Trae Young normally do, the pump fake and lean into his chest and all the flop things that the little meat love to do. Quentin Grimes locked all of that down last night, and he didn't have a good shooting game last night. But as we always say, Queen, his best feature is his defense, and he was locked in last night on his defense. He played very good. The only thing was the surprise pass from JB, and he fumbled it, and then he fouled him. So that's one of the things Grimes need to clean up on. He need to be that's a lack of concentration, I should say. So he need to concentrate more in big games situation. I see a hater in the chat already giving him a lot of gripe already, but I'm not gonna pay him no attention. But it's just game 2, and he's gonna come around because I say before he's guarding the best guy every night, and a lot of people don't give him credit. They talk about he's soft, he's this and he's that, but he's very important to the team, and I'm glad that we have him on this team, one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA, I should say. The stats say so. If you don't believe me, go look it up. And I just hope he continues to play well on on the defensive end, because that's how you get on the court playing for Tom Thibodeau, playing defense. So you mightn't like him, you mightn't think he's a lockdown defender, but that's what he is, and he's on this team. So shout out to Grimes.
Queen, we can't hear you again.
I thought we talked about Isaiah Hartenstein already, so we don't have to. Josh, oh my God. 22 minutes, 4 points, 3 rebounds, 1 steal. Geoff, I hope you're right. And I think you are. He was on the team last season, but he's in a different role, playing a different position, and he needs to make the adjustment. He's on my fantasy team. I got him late. I'm holding on, though. I'm holding on that things will turn around. Thoughts on Josh Hart?
I think it's interesting. One of the things that we talked about in the preseason was what is the minutes distribution going to look like, and so last night you saw 20 minutes of DiVincenzo, 22 minutes of Hart, 25 minutes of Quickley, 25 minutes of Grimes, and you saw, and at least to me, it seemed like a lot of different lineup combinations from Thibodeau to try and weave all of these players into the tapestry, so to speak, get them all playing time. Wasn't a great game from Hart. Hart just seems like he's a little fatigued to me. I think FIBA kind of had a bad effect on him. He's an effort and hustle player, and he just doesn't have that same oomph so far in the first. It's just 2 games, but he just doesn't seem to have that same energy level and he's an energy level player. So I think that's going to be something that, hopefully it doesn't affect long term, but we definitely we definitely need him to play better. It's nice but again, he didn't do all that much, but we didn't need him to do all that much last night because and that's, I think, one of the things that we're going to have to get used to is there are going to be some nights when Grimes only has 6 points. There are going to be some nights when Josh Hart only has 4 points and 3 boards. But look, Julius had 11 rebounds. Mitch had 13, or Julius had 12 actually. Mitch had 13, so they had 25 just between the two of them. So we were getting it. It's not like we weren't getting the rebounds because Josh Hart was costing us in that way, even though, right, we tend to look at, we look to him more for that. But I think he had 7 rebounds in the first game. So he's averaging 5 a game. That's a little bit less than he's used to. So that, I think, tends to lend credence to the fact that he's still trying to figure out how he's gonna fill this role and do what they're asking him to do. But I think Josh Hart's going to be fine. It's just a really difficult puzzle because you've got a lot of guys who deserve minutes, and there's only so many ways you can slice a pie, right? So it gets tricky, and this wasn't Josh Hart's night, and so I don't know that when he got here last year, I don't know that there was a game where he played just 22 minutes. I feel like when he got here last year, he was at 27 to 30 almost the entire time he was there, including in the playoffs. So I'm sure it's an adjustment for him. But again, DiVincenzo was playing well, and Quickley and Grimes are keys to you. I think that they, from a perimeter defense and focus on trying to stop Trae Young, those two were mission critical last night. So I think that it's a lot of it's matchup dependent, and you're going to see. I think you're going to see games like this from all of that 2-guard crew who just kind of the 6'5" and under gang, if you will. I think you're going to see you're just going to see that a common theme throughout the year because he wants to get them all court time, and sometimes they're going to flash in that time, and sometimes they're going to sputter.
Yeah. I mean, that's just to to let you know how deep our team is. When one person it ain't having it, it always have somebody that's gonna step up. Quickly didn't step up offensively last night.
Wow.
Dante stepped up last night,
Right.
right? So it's gonna be that type of season up and down, Jeff. I totally agree with you. That it's not every night that a particular player is gonna have it. You know what I mean? So that's why we have a deep team that's gonna step up. I know a lot of people don't like the 80 million that he got, but it is what it is. And Josh Hart brings intangibles that a lot of players don't have. If you see one of those commercials, he was talking to Mitch and he's telling Mitch, you bring down defensive rebounds, but I bring down the rebounds that break teams. So I'm not really worried about Josh right now. It's just the second game. I think people need to relax a little bit. It's just game two. You know what I mean? And plus he said, he's a little tired from the fever. He said it himself. He's a little fevered out. So, everybody, he don't got the bounce and the pep that he gets, but it's a long season. We just played 2 games out of 82 games. So I'm not worried about Josh Hart. It will come around. His shot will eventually drop and he will start playing better. So shout out to Josh Hart.
Wow, Josh Hart got a shout out. All right, all right. Um, yeah, hopefully he does. Hopefully he does. All right. This is just I'm gonna go through these really quick. This is just a visual of how the game went last night, and as you can see, it's all blue. It was all Knicks. You see a little bit of red in that first quarter, but for the most part, it was all Knicks. We went over each player, team stat wise. We out rebounded them by 1, so it was pretty even. I think that was the same thing with Boston. We had 30 assists last night, but remember, in order to get assists, you got to hit shots. And the Knicks hit shots last night. So assists is not necessarily an indication of ball movement because you can move the ball really well and miss shots and not get the assist. But last night we had both. 9 steals for the Knicks. I wonder what we averaged in steals last year, but I think we're up in steals over the first 2 games, if I'm not mistaken.
We weren't a very good steal team at all last year. So yeah. I think Mitch Robinson had as many steals as we averaged a game last year.
Shout out to Big Mitch. 16 turnovers, which is not characteristic of us. Listen, we shot 48 from the field and that's not going to happen every night, but it was really, really good to see. Points in the paint, they were plus 14 in the paint. Didn't seem like that though, but they were plus 14 in the paint. Second chance points, they were plus 2. And fast break points, they were plus 1. But the fact that the Knicks had 16 fast break points, that's not us at all. I think last season, maybe 12, 11 or something. Something like that.
And, they were worried about the leaking out of Obi, right? I mean, and shout out to Obi. I have nothing against the young man, but we still going to get fast break points. You see, we averaged 12 last year. We had 16.
I think it was 12. Somebody check me on that.
Yeah, we're going to fact check, but I mean, it, as I said, the season is still young, and I do think we still have a chance to improve on those fast break points. So it is yet to come to see. Let me just say it like that.
I think the difference with the fast break points is in that second unit, no matter who gets the rebound, we can just go. And that is a huge benefit. I mean, because even Hartenstein can make that long pass up the court if someone's open. He has great court vision, or, you know, so we just have that spurt ability. And DiVincenzo wants to play fast, and he's able to get steals at the point of attack. And so that's going to help. Quickley, obviously, can do that. Barrett has really shown that he can push the pace with that second unit. So I think it's just that personnel grouping, and they haven't even gelled yet. So I think that's a stat to look out for. I think that stat may actually continue to increase as the season goes along, which I think will help us, because when you can modify your pace like that, I think that makes you more difficult as a team, because you can, most of the time teams are either like the Indiana Pacers, they want to track meet, or they're like the Miami Heat and they want to, the turtle pace and methodical. And so if you can do both, that gives you a flexibility where you can win games in a lot of different ways. And, I think we saw that last night. We won the game because we shot really well from 3-point range, and we didn't necessarily have the points in the paint, but we're also a team that can get points in the paint. I mean, RJ Barrett, that's a strength of his. Julius Randle can do that. Jalen Brunson is a maestro when it comes to that. So the more versatility that you have, and the more ways that you can win games over the course of an 82 game grind, I think that helps you.
Listen, and most of our team could take it coast to coast. Even Hartenstein can go coast to coast. So, shout out to Parish Duggan, the coolest, and the public enemy number one, the big Obi number one fans. But I think we are good on the fast break points, and these guys could run like gazelles. So, I think we will be good in that category, right? So, as Keith Turner would say, can somebody please tell Obi to go away? You're muted, Queen.
Ajay.
Salute to Ajay. Yeah. All right. So tonight we play New Orleans. We're 1-1. They're 0-1. This is just their second game of the season, and I believe it is their home opener. Somebody check me on that. We don't have to get into
too.
Yeah, we don't have to get into offensive defensive rating. It's too early in the season for that. I anticipate the same starters for us: Brunson, Grimes, Barrett, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson. This is who started for them their first game of the season. CJ McCollum, Herbert Jones started at the 2. Remember, Trey Murphy 3 is out with an injury. Brandon Ingram at the 3, Zion Williamson at the 4, and Jonas Valanciunas at the center position.
Oh, and Queen, I think they won their first game against Memphis too.
Oh, they did? So they're 1-0? Okay,
yeah,
my mistake. Okay,
yeah,
my mistake. My mistake. Any quick thoughts on our matchup tonight?
It's gonna be
Battle
tough.
of the Dookies.
Yeah, Battle of the Dookies.
Ingram and Zion and
And I think somebody was saying last night that this might be the first game between RJ and Zion in the past 5 years, because Zion always has been hurt.
It's still early. He could trip over something before the game. Still early.
So I'm looking forward for the matchup. I'm looking forward for Randle having a good game tonight. He only took 10 shots last night. I'm looking him to come out and play a lot of bully ball tonight. I'm looking for the same energy from JB. And I'm looking for Mitch to dominate against who do we have as center?
Valanciunas.
Is it Valanciunas?
Yeah, that's who they have.
Right. So I'm looking for Mitch to also have a dominating game against Valanciunas, because Valanciunas is a very good rebounder. He's a very good vet. So that's one of the matchups I want to see, and we definitely got to play defense on CJ. So Grimes has his work cut out for him tonight again. Every night he's going to be going up against one of the best players on their team. And CJ McCollum ain't no slouch. So I'm looking for a very defensive game from Quentin Grimes tonight, and the whole bench. You know, I'm looking for them to keep up that energy when the first unit comes out with a lot of energy. I'm looking for Dante to have another good game tonight. Quick to have another good game tonight. Facilitate the ball. Don't turn it over that much. And please, as a team, we need to hit our free throws. That is very, very important tonight. So that's very important. And also, as Kerry Cox said, we gotta defend BI tonight. Very good point, Kerry. Brandon Ingram. I know that's Queen's boy, but tonight
Not tonight.
tonight we're gonna shut him down. We're gonna
Not
shut him
tonight.
down tonight. We're gonna shut him down tonight. So
Yeah.
once we our defense is clicking tonight, I'm looking for us to be going in there and winning tonight. Randall has his work cut out tonight against Zion. We do not want another what's the name of that young man that got embarrassed in the summer game? The guy that we drafted. What's his name again? I'm sorry.
Kevin Knox?
Kevin Knox. We do not need another Kevin Knox where Zion is punking Julius Randle. I do not need to see that tonight. Okay? So Julius, I need you to step up tonight and make Zion work tonight. So
I will say this though. Shout out to Kerry Cox. Quentin Grimes would have probably been on Brandon Ingram. But with how RJ Barrett has played defensively over the first two games, maybe RJ Barrett gets the BI assignment. You know, the few possessions that he was on Tatum didn't shoot. He didn't shoot well. You know, so maybe, you know, if RJ's defense is better, that's going to really help us too. I'm not saying he's all world, but you have Grimes on one side, you know, one part of the court, really good defender, and you have RJ, an adequate, above average defender for his position. That definitely helps us. So we're going to see how Tibbs feels about RJ's defense, right? When we see who's guarding Brandon Ingram. I'll say this. I've watched, I think it was the first half of New Orleans game. Zion is not hitting a three. He is bullied, and he handles the ball a lot. So if you're putting Randle on Zion, Randle is going to have to be able to guard him in space. You know, he's not just somebody that's down in the, you know, in the box. He brings the ball up the court, similar to Randle. Brings the ball up the court at times. He plays from the wing, but he's always looking to drive into the key. And I think with Mitchell Robinson back there, we're going to be fine. He's not going to shoot the three. Lay off of him. And, you know, but the thing about it is he's similar to Barrett in the sense that, you know, he wants to get to the rack. And
you can't stop it.
You can't stop. Like, I was watching the game. I'm like, he's not going to shoot. You know what he's trying to do? He would still get there. He would still get to the rack. But we have Mitchell Robinson back there, so I feel encouraged. Geoff, anything on tonight's game?
You know, I what gives me pause is we're on the second game of a back-to-back, and they're not. So that's a little bit. And the reason I think that's significant is because it's early in the season. And I think you've seen in each of the first two games that are in the fourth quarter, our legs haven't really been underneath us yet anyway. You know, I think we shot 1 of 8 in the fourth quarter to start the fourth quarter in Atlanta. And so that I think is my biggest concern is how, you know, and allegedly, you know, that's where your depth comes into play and you show, but New Orleans, when they're healthy, and they appear to be, they have a good squad. I mean, this is not going to be an easy game. I mean, by any stretch of the imagination. I think you can make the argument that they're at least even in nearly every one of those matchups. I mean, I know that's not how the game works, but you know, so this game definitely concerns me. It's being a second game of a back-to-back. I think that you know, it's going to be tough down there. I just think it's going to be an interesting battle, and hopefully our legs are underneath us and we power through and get the win. You're muted, Queen.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. Shout out to the chat. I do think Brunson and McCollum. I don't know if Grimes will be on Herbert Jones for a 2 guard. He's what, 6'7"? If not taller. So I mean, he's not like a knockdown shooter, though I did notice in the preseason he was taking, more threes. His game has evolved a little bit, but they're long. And Brandon Ingram and RJ Barrett, if they match up against each other, I would like to see that. Like, that's my matchup to watch if they do match up against each other. Wait a minute. I think Randle and Zion might be my
that's what I'm saying.
Might be my matchup to watch.
Listen, the only crisscross matchup that's on the board right now is going to be Jalen and Herb Jones. I think Herb Jones is going to be guarding Jalen Brunson.
Right, to slow him down.
And Quentin going to be on McCollum. But the rest of the matchups, I think that's how it's going to be.
Yeah, you're right. I'm looking forward to that. We are in New Orleans. I believe it's a 7:30 start. I'm looking forward to that. What's next? I'll be right back here tomorrow morning, Sunday 9, maybe 10, maybe 10ish. Maybe 10ish for the morning recap show, Monday, 8:30 p.m., Queens Court on the Nothing But Knicks channel. We play Cleveland, I believe it is, Tuesday night. So yes. I'll be back Wednesday morning for a morning recap show. You can follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at BKSteph33. You can also follow me on Facebook, Dope Soul Sports Talk. And then there's the Just Nickin' It podcast, wherever whatever streaming platform you use for that. So support the channel. It's the Dope Soul way. Like, comment, share, subscribe, download the Just Nickin' It audio podcast. Become a Patreon. The link is in the chat. It's pinned to the top. I do a post-game audio podcast, unscripted, right off the dome after the game. I recorded one last night. The newsletter now for Patreons. I'm not sure if I'm going to try to do it weekly. There'll be giveaways as well. Thank you for my current Patreons. I appreciate that. And then lastly, I want to spread love to the 2 Knicks chicks. They started their YouTube channel, and I see they got 2 more videos up after the Boston game and then after last night's game. So I have to check that out. But go to YouTube, or you're already in YouTube, search for 2 Knicks chicks. I should have put the link in the chat, and support the channel. The ladies, really
let's get them up to 1,000 subscribers.
Let's get them to 1,000 subscribers. Just trying to spread love. Thanks for watching. Any last words, Geoff Staffer?
Queen all the time this week. I love it. Oh man, I'm sorry I'm not gonna be in the morning show tomorrow, but I hope our boys play well tonight. I'm a little bit nervous for this one, and man, these endings taking years off my life, man. Too stressful. Like, can't we just have a game where we just have a smooth finish?
Yeah, no doubt about it. Yep.
My player of the game is Julius Randle. Let me just say that. Mm-hmm. My player of the game was Julius Randle last night, and the game ball goes to RJ and JB. So I have 2 awards: the game ball and the man of the game. Man of the game was Julius Randle for hitting those big shots, free throws, big 3-point shot in the corner from assist from RJ, and the 2 game balls goes to RJ and JB.
Right.
So yeah, so that's those are my 2 last comments. Shout out to those guys in New Orleans. I hope we come with a big game win tonight so I can brag tomorrow in the morning Sunday.
Yes.
So let's get it, Knicks. Let's get it. And shout out to the chat, man. Kerry Cox, Shay Powers, Mega, CC, Keith Turner, Knicks Nation 12, Efren Lopez, Mike Boy, Most High Manas, still Knick fans. Look forward for his show. I think he's probably going to come on at 12. Know the Ledge. He's going to be coming on. And
right. Salute.
Yeah, and shout out to everybody that came out this morning to support the Queen. Dope Soul. Hit that like button. Shout out to RJ, as he like to say, hit that RJ button when you're going out. Yeah, man, it's nothing but love.
We got 76 likes, 114 people in the chat. Show your love.
Let's go.
That like button out the door. We have some new people in here tonight. This morning, I should say. Elijah Moore. You know, I appreciate you. If it's not your first time, welcome back. Tony Bell, appreciate you. If it's not your first time, welcome back. And then, you know, the old heads that's in here, JJ, Kerry Cox, Mega NYK of K,
Thomas Banks,
The Wiz, Shot Powers, Kerry Cox. Y'all know my condition. I ain't going to be able to get to everybody, but I appreciate you all. And hopefully you're back tomorrow joining us. Appreciate you.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Sister, it's time you
That's
shine. Don't talk.
Where you at? Where you at?
Don't talk.
Where you at? Where you at?
Don't talk.
What?